There's a new twist to the political crisis in Kenya. Opposition leader Raila Odinga has pulled out of this month's presidential election rerun. But is his fight for fair elections over? Not quite so. Here's more on that in this detailed report.
On Tuesday, Kenya's main opposition leader Raila Odinga called a press conference and said,
"Deliberating on our position in respect of the upcoming election, considering the interests of the people of Kenya, the region and the world at large, we believe that all will be best served by NASA vacating its presidential candidature in the election scheduled for 26th October this 2017.
Odinga alleged that the election would be neither free nor fair. The Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta is now the only candidate in the October 26th election rerun. He was quick to respond to Odinga's withdrawal.
So my friend, I hear you have withdrawn us after taking us round and round, having spent more than 10 billion Kenyan shillings so that we can go for an election. Money that could have built roads, money that could have built hospitals is now being used for an election that he called for. But he now does not want it. Is there justice in that statement?
Is there justice in that statement?
Kenyatta has said that the election will go ahead with or without Odinga. But with his rival calling for nationwide protests from Wednesday onward, the crisis is far from over. And the fear of violent confrontations between police and protesters is only too real. Bureau Report, WION.
Let's get in further perspectives and try and break down for you what is really happening in Kenya. Joining us on the broadcast from Nairobi is Salim Amin, who is the chairman of Africa 24 Media and also Camera Picks. Thank you very much and appreciate you joining us here on WION. Your initial reaction to Raila Odinga's pulling out of the race. Is this move likely to backfire?
Actually, it's a very interesting period here because nobody really knows what the legal consequences of him pulling out are. And there is no way that he would have made this decision without having a plan of some sort. And I'm sure his legal team has been working night and day to figure out what the consequences of him withdrawing at this stage are. I think he's calling for a fresh election to happen within the next 90 days. But the Supreme Court, when it annulled the presidential election in August, called for an election within 60 days. So this is where there's a lot of confusion at the moment, that nobody really knows what's going to happen next.
How, according to you, will this actually contribute to Raila Odinga's larger objective of having a free and fair election, or will this actually take away from that intended objective, according to you?
Well, depending on what happens now with the protests, you see that it's fine to call and say that he's going to withdraw from the election, but to then call for mass demonstrations and protests at a time when the country is going through some major economic issues and problems, I'm not sure that this is going to work very well in his favor. I think people are a little bit fed up. We've been having this drama for the last 3 or 4 months now, and there's been really no business at all this year. So I think people are a little bit fed up about what's been happening and want to just move on with their lives. And this political circus is getting a little bit tiring for people.
According to you, and like I mentioned in the outset, would this move of Raila Odinga pulling out of the race actually defeat the purpose and mean that Uhuru Kenyatta actually stands to gain from this tactical move? I say this and I ask you this because the Vice President now has made a demand that, well, if Odinga has quit the race, then why not have Uhuru Kenyatta actually take over?
Well, Deputy President Ruto has, I don't know if he's quoting from the Constitution. The Constitution is a bit vague on this. It says that in the event of a death or a withdrawal, then there should be the candidate that's left in the race should be declared the winner. But given what this Constitution was from 2010, given what the Supreme Court ruled 60 days ago or 5 or 6 weeks ago, I'm not sure that still is a legitimate part of the law. So it's a really confusing factor here. If they go ahead with the election and Raila chooses not to stand, then by default Uhuru Kenyatta will win as being the only candidate. But I don't think it'll be as simple as that, and I think there has to be some sort of a plan behind Raila calling for this last-minute withdrawal. And everyone is waiting to see. There's a dozen constitutional lawyers that are debating this issue, and my understanding is, as we speak, the IEBC is in an emergency meeting at the moment, trying to figure out what to do next.
Right, and also, Salim, it's very interesting that you were telling us that this is a move which might just open a lot of doors in terms of possibilities as well over the next few days and weeks. Also, since you mentioned that there is ambiguity in the kind of next move that could be taken by Odinga as well. But according to you, is there a larger objective, and is there more to this that meets the eye behind Odinga actually pulling out? What's the impetus for that?
No, I think it's about power. It's about becoming the president. This has gone, for Raila Odinga, he has been wanting this seat for the best part of 20 years now. So, he's not in a hurry to give it up. This is why the decision is so surprising. This is his last opportunity to stand for public or for presidency or political office because of his age. So there must be a bigger plan at play. I mean, he must have thought this through, or his advisors must be giving him that advice to trigger something that will hopefully make his opportunity better. I still think he was going for a losing election. Even if they had continued, he would not have won the rerun. And I think that is probably why he's taken this kind of extreme action now, to see if there's another way where they can maybe open up dialogue. I mean, what happened in 2008 with the post-election violence was basically to open up dialogue, to give him a position in government to stop the violence. So maybe that's one thing, is to start mass protests, mass demonstrations, countrywide anarchy. And if that happens, then maybe there will be a negotiating position for him to come to the table and do some sort of power-sharing agreement. But I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta is that keen on doing that, because as far as he's concerned, he won that election in August, and it was endorsed by everybody, but the Supreme Court changed that decision. So there's a lot of factors here that nobody really has the answers to.
I also want to know from you on ground, if you can give us a sense of what you have been picking up from where you are, of the kind of support that has perhaps been fading away or increasing for Uhuru Kenyatta. How exactly have the last few days or weeks of uncertainty impacted his standing as far as the mood on ground is concerned?
Well, I haven't really seen that kind. I think the support more so has been receding from Raila Odinga's side. I mean, immediately after the election results were announced, he called for mass protests, he called for people to go on strike, and none of those calls were actually taken up. People just wanted to get on with their lives. As I said earlier, the country is under a very tough economic strain at the moment, and we really need to be able to look at it for an entire year.
Right, Salim, I mean, a bit of a dip in your audio levels there, but we do have a larger sense of what the mood on ground, as you're indicating, really is, which way things are seeming to really steer. But of course, one can only wait and watch how this uncertainty really plays out over the next few days and weeks ahead, after Raila Odinga has called it quits from the race, and how exactly would that impact the popularity or defeat the purpose that Raila Odinga is actually fighting for, which is a free and fair election. Thanking you once again, Salim Amin, for joining us on the broadcast.